Hey guys, Rachel and Joy here. We're going to start out today with a poem that we have. So this is from the poet Catherine Pulsifer. Life can be so bumpy and emotional up and down. We need to find the joy, even act like a clown. Find the time for a giggle, then laugh can flow. Be merry and frolic and let the smiles show. Laughter is just the best to stay happy and bright. It can fix a cloudy day or sharpen a foggy sight. Being happy is a state of mind. Let it be your goal. Being happy is a choice, and it is good for the soul. So Rachel and I would like to welcome you to You're All Right, Get Up, a podcast full of laughter, personal stories, encouragement, and often a show about living life. As a disclaimer, our podcast does not offer professional therapy or treat illness. We are a motivational supporting podcast sharing our life experiences, stories, and laughter.
And we encourage you to check out our website, allrightgetup.com, to view past episodes and to also check out some of our promo items. And don't forget about Wednesday What? Your midweek boost.
Yes, please listen to the midweek boost. We're pretty proud of those. We'd love for you to check out our sponsor tab as well and consider joining us in this journey. If you have questions or need additional info regarding that, please check out the tab on our website or contact us at info@allrightgetup.com.
All right, so I have a question for you. Are you ready for this? This is going to be something that you have to divulge a little personal information.
Yep. Okay.
What is the silliest fear that you have?
The silliest fear. Wow. Let me think of that for a second.
I have something.
All right, you go and I'll be thinking a minute of.
Well, I could say two.
Yeah.
So my first fear, silliest fear, is I don't like to vacuum in my house by myself.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So no ideas.
Uh-huh.
And my brother has it too. I don't know if he grew out of it, but we both have that fear because when you're vacuuming, it's probably better now because the engines. I guess it's the small engine that does it.
Mm-hmm.
It's much quieter now, but, in our younger days, the vacuum was quite loud. We lived in a fairly rural area, which is hard to say, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And we were always afraid that when you're vacuuming, you couldn't hear somebody walk up behind you and attack us and murder us.
That makes sense.
So we always made sure one or the other was with us to watch our back, basically. So to this day, I vacuum constantly turning around like there's somebody behind me.
Yeah.
So that's one of my fears. And then the second fear is I'm not a great speller.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm always afraid that I'm going to go to one of these HR classes. And this has happened once. And they're going to ask me to be the person on the board that writes down everybody's ideas or something where I've got to write and I've got to spell.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Because I'm like that meme where they joke like anybody who reads my phone is going to be disappointed because it's all filled with, okay, how do you spell unconscious? Which I can't say all of a sudden. What mostly my searches on Google is how to spell XYZ or whatever.
Gotcha. So one of my silliest fears would be leaving the door unlocked.
You mean accidentally?
Yes. I'll elaborate.
Okay, good.
There's this thing when I was much smaller. I was a small little girl. I need to elaborate on that too because Daddy always would say, how's my little girl? So if I say that, I'm sorry, it sneaks out because, yeah. It was funny because he would even do that. Like he was 88, right? And I was, in my 40s, tall, and he'd be like, how's my little girl?
Oh,
it's the sweetest thing, right? But anyway, yeah, if I refer it that way, it's probably because that's sneaking out.
Well, I feel bad about
bit.
harassing you now.
No, it's completely fine. I am completely fine with it. Totally get it. When I was younger,
okay,
as a little girl, Daddy would always be like, hey, did you lock the door? He was very particular really about that thing. It was not because he was really fearful or anything like that. I think he was really trying to teach us to be responsible. Mm-hmm. And so he was constantly, hey, did you clean that up? Did you lock the door? He was teaching us things, accountability, responsibility. He would often, as even when we were little, be like, here's the key, you unlock it, right?
Oh.
So it was a way of learning things. But he also had this thing about checking the yard, he'd say, well, before you go out there and do this or that, be sure you look around and make sure you don't see any large worms or anything out in the yard, anything that looks unusual. But he was just sweet like that. He was always about safety, right? Mm-hmm. And Mama was too, but Daddy was especially about safety. So I got the door thing from him. He would say before we left the house, hey, let me go back and double check the door, and make sure it's locked and all the doors locked, everything's locked up tight. Same thing at night before you go to bed, go around and check the door. So I will tell you that my little fear is that door being unlocked. I've already gone by and I checked it, and somebody's walked out on the back porch and they left the door cracked or left it unlocked. It wouldn't be unusual for me to get up and be like, okay, I'll be right back. I'm going to go get some extra water. So and while I'm in there, I'm walking in there like checking the door, is so that door locked? Is that?
So you even do a lock check when you're just sitting at home during the day?
Yes, sometimes, especially if it's the front door, which is used relatively often, like checking for things, packages and stuff, and the back deck. Yeah, I'll do that for sure.
What's it called? I hope I didn't cut you off there. Mm-mm. What's it called? Is it the key lock kits?
Oh, you know what? I think that's right. Yeah, that does sound right. Are you Googling it now?
I am.
So, yeah, I do believe that is right. I remember hearing that not long ago. Somebody referred to it that way.
Latchkey kit.
Okay, yeah. And we were left home by ourselves more often than probably most. But we did live right by my grandparents and my aunt, which, I mean, literally, like, it wasn't even in a cul-de-sac. It was, like, right next door on almost the same driveway that was a circle driveway. So the good part about it is even though we would get off the bus and come home, unlock the house and be there by ourselves a while until they got home, my grandparents were next door and my aunt was there. So I could go next door or they could get to me very easily.
So you were a latchkey kid.
Yep.
Well, it's funny because even as a middle-aged adult woman, I have to tell myself that I am an adult and I can't answer the door even though I'm home alone during the day. Because my mom, she was always like, don't answer the door for strangers.
Yes.
No matter what, do not.
Yes.
They're tricking you.
Mm-hmm.
Either I will be home or your father or your grandfather or your grandmother will be here.
Right.
Or aunts and uncles, of course. Only family will come try to get you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so even today, I'm like, ding dong. I'm like, oh, I got to pretend like nobody's home. And then I'm like, no, you're an adult. It's the UPS guy. Go answer the door.
It's okay.
So anyway.
No, our parents said the same thing, just be careful, look see who's at the door because you can see them out the window. But you have the phone number right here if you need to call us or call somebody. The other thing that I'll mention is actually being out in the water, like in the pool or somewhere, and having to go to the bathroom.
Okay. Your fear is using the bathroom in the ocean or getting out of the ocean?
Getting out of the ocean. I don't know what it is. I know some people who are just like, you know what? I'm Free Willy. I will do it wherever, whenever. And I know people like that. And honestly, I can't do that. I can't. And I have this fear about all of a sudden you had one too many slices of pizza and you're just like, I got to find a place to go. And how am I going to be able to get out of here fast enough?
That's
I think maybe that's more of an age thing though, because the older you get, the worse that gets.
Like, where all the bathrooms are.
Right. Oh, look, there's another one.
Don't go here. They don't have a great bathroom in here.
Right. That's number 4. So if you're over here by the B suite, you can get to that one much faster.
I'll never forget, Brian and I were on a road trip, and I had to use the bathroom really bad.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the worst places, I'm not going to say the name, it's a fast food restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
And I had no choice, but I was like, I can't. There's no way I'm going to make it to a rest area. So we went into this fast food place. Bathroom was typical for this place.
Mm-hmm.
Gross.
Yeah.
So gross. And as a woman, you have to do what we call the hover.
Oh, boy.
And I had to use the bathroom really bad. And I was trying to invoke the hover. It's hard to say. Invoke the hover. And it didn't go as planned.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know it until things were finished. And I realized that my pants were wet.
Oh, no.
Real wet.
Oh, no.
So apparently the hover, the pants coming down did not make the hover position as I thought. And they were wet. And so it took me forever because I was trying to dry my pants on the little wall dryer, which, you know, you could just go up to somebody and ask them breathe heavy and you get the same amount of air. And then I come out to the car and he's like, and I have the look of horror and he's like, what's wrong? I'm like, well, I peed on myself. It's like, you what? I said, yep, I'm not going to be able to make it 2 hours. He's like, yeah, you are. Mm-mm. And I wanted to get naked from the waist down and ride back naked.
You know, that takes some bravery. I have to hand it to you.
But I was going to like use a blanket in the back, you know, but I was like, yeah, I'm going to take everything off and just wrap this around me. He's like, no, you're not. I was like, yes, I am. He's like, you will not. It's like, you can sit on the blanket. I was like, I don't want to ruin my seats.
Oh, goodness.
That was a big argument.
Yeah.
He won.
Oh,
he's like,
did.
I will put them pants back on you.
We'll find a lake somewhere. I'm going to wash these.
I don't know why I didn't
like...
think, let's just go to a Walmart real quick and let me run in and get some sweatpants or something. But God, I was so traumatized. Yeah. My brain just shut down. Boo.
Yeah.
Like you peed on your, like there's nothing like pulling them up and you're like, what?
Yeah. Yeah.
My pants wet.
Isn't it amazing how that affects your mental capacity? You know,
just shut down.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh gosh.
No,
anyway,
I get it.
That part will be edited out. I don't want people to know I peed in my pants. But make sure that your pants go a certain position in the hover.
Yes. Well, it needs to go into the bow tie.
Yes, exactly.
That's really important.
But it's one of those things.
It's all about style, because at that point you're doing like the whole gymnastics, you know.
Exactly.
What is my points here? That's a 9.
Oh,
yeah. Let me.
You gotta just get in that position.
Yeah.
And then the horror when you're piecing together, like, why are my pants wet? It's me. I peed on them.
Yeah.
But I had to pee so bad. It's one of those where you just let's just get close, I guess. Like she released before I was ready. It couldn't have been one of those times where I'm talking her out. I'm like, nobody's gonna murder you, and then
exactly.
Because there's been a place where one of my best friends from work, and I told her like, good luck going in there. She's like, I thought I was gonna wet myself. What took you so long? Like, she wouldn't let go. She didn't want to open the gates. She's like, we're not going to the bathroom in here. It's nasty. I don't know if it's like everybody who does this, but when we were really young kids, we'd go to the beach. Mm-hmm. And as time progressed, we kind of went to different ways to stay at the beach.
Right.
You know, you start out in a hotel, which I can't imagine having 2 kids in a very small space.
Right.
And then I'll never forget my mother. One year we went to the beach and she's like, this year we're going to stay at a condo.
Oh.
Yeah. So I was like, wow.
Yeah. Good stuff.
And it was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
And then one year I talked her into, let's rent a beach house.
Nice.
Yes. So we looked online together and we found a beach house. And by this time, I'm a young adult. I can't remember how long I've been married. And so it's my parents and then myself and my husband, Brian, who I can't go a podcast without mentioning him. Love of my life. And then my brother. Mm-hmm. And at the time, I think it was either his girlfriend or maybe his fiance. Mm-hmm. So we rented this house. And unfortunately, the only thing with the house, it's, you're at the beach and it was right on the sand. And so it's built on stilts. And if you walked across, like the first floor, it just had like the kitchen and the sitting room area. And then upstairs had all the bedrooms. And so you could feel the house moving.
Oh, wow.
When you walked.
Wow.
It was a weird feeling.
Okay.
Like we're all like,
that is weird.
This is awkward, And so it was very movable. And like if it was really windy, you could feel it. Yeah. Another thing, which I feel like they should have put in the advertisement. Mm-hmm. Very spacious, moves a lot when you walk. If a lot of you's walking at the same time, you're going to feel it.
Right.
So it was a little weird to feel a house moving. And then it had this huge deck.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's right on the beach. Again, I feel like they should have put this in the ad. Hey, huge deck, but letting you know that in between the two houses, it's a public beach access alleyway. So we had constant
Wow.
traffic of people going to the beach. So
Right.
those are only the drawbacks.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, it was really nice. I know I'm dating myself, but I think it was at this time they also really, in our area, came out with the flags.
Mm-hmm.
And then the color would indicate what the ocean conditions were.
Right.
So, green, as you might imagine, safe as can be. Red, little undertows present and a little
Right.
rough.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember seeing the red flag and asking my mom, wonder what the red flag means. Now, I should have had some common sense because red usually means danger, stop.
Yeah.
I don't know what my mom, because she wasn't drinking, or at least not that I knew of. Oh, honey,
Oh,
it
boy.
means safe as can be.
Oh, boy.
So, I mean, we're all young,
Right.
pretty young adults here, and we're all at this time very athletic.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't, even though you should take ocean conditions very seriously, it was a little rough,
Mm-hmm.
I'll be honest. And it was kind of dark. It looked like any minute, it was going to start storming. But
Ooh.
so my mother, she never was a great swimmer.
Mm-hmm.
So she pretty much stayed out of the ocean.
Right.
And the one time that I talked her into going, it was relatively calm. I
Mhm.
felt so bad. And so I was like, just come in the ocean and we'll both use this float and we'll kind of jump the waves because they're not really bad. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere comes the white squall. And I felt so bad because it just came and it just it was like 5 feet. And it's nothing
Oh,
compared to the
boy.
waves like in California.
Yeah.
And it just comes over us and just crushes us and scoots us all the way to the shoreline.
Right.
Like you've got burns because you've been plummeted to the bottom and just carried forward.
Oh.
And I felt real bad because she couldn't swim that well, but I was very protective of my mom.
Yeah.
And so I made sure to push her up, so at least I could get her above water, and then I felt so bad when I popped up and I was like, that was fun. And she's crying.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
So then later, I felt so bad. So then later, we all loved to boogie board.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so it was my dad, my husband, my brother, and at the time, either his girlfriend or fiance. I can't remember what relationship status it was at that time. So we decided we're going to boogie board. So we go out a fair distance.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like we were pretty cool. Like in California where they get ready to catch the wave and they're all lined up.
Yeah, exactly.
Parallel to each other. And so that's what we're doing. And I'm on the very end.
Mm-hmm.
And at this time, I needed to wear contacts or glasses, basically see long distance. But because the waves are so rough and the red flag that's safe as can be, I didn't have anything on.
Right.
So I just like for everybody to let that sink in that I couldn't see. Not real well. So again, I'm on the very far end on the right side, and then everybody else is lined up beside me. And again, we're pretty deep. It's one of those things where you always think we're a close family and we're always going to be there to support each other and protect each other. Well, that was the day I realized that's not true with my family. And I'll tell you why. All of a sudden, you're kind of looking back, getting ready to determine which wave you should get ready to jump on.
Mm-hmm.
And I see something, but I'm not quite sure what it is. So my husband's the next person beside me, and I go, what is that? And I didn't think about, those are words that you never want to hear in the ocean.
Right, exactly.
And then I see a really, really dark eye. And at first I'm like, and I'm thinking he's still right beside me, and I'm still looking at it, kind of behind me. And I'm like, oh, it's a dead camel. Because it looked like a camel's eye.
Okay, wait now. Because, first of all,
Okay,
why would you attribute that to a camel's eye? Have you really spent some time looking at a camel
well, I should.
face to face? I'm just curious.
Yes, I have.
Oh, okay.
I've ridden many
Great.
camels across
I see.
the
Deserts
Sierra.
and
Yeah,
the Sierra.
we go
Okay,
every
I
year
gotcha.
to the camels.
I
No,
gotcha.
because I saw the dark eye, and then I saw a very brownish color.
Right.
And I thought, okay, camels are brown and they have the big eye. It's
Right,
got to be
right.
a dead camel. And I thought, no. Now, again, I'm still looking back behind me. I was like, no, it can't be a dead camel. Because why would it be a dead camel in the south? You know?
Right.
So I was like, it's a horse. It's a dead horse.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, oh, you know? And then I was like, no, it can't be a horse. And then all of a sudden I see a flipper go across.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, oh, it's a huge sea turtle. And I'm like, oh, this is so amazing. We're swimming in the Gulf of Mexico with a sea turtle.
Oh, boy.
And I'm in just awe. It's just, I feel like it was a very, like, surreal moment.
Right.
That you should just reflect that God's given you this amazing event. And I turned to say, yep, it's not a dead camel, it's a sea turtle. And I looked to my left, every single family member is gone. I then look at the shoreline. Every single one of them is standing safely on the shore.
Oh, no.
But no one said, hey, maybe we should go in. Not even my husband, like, oh, you said the dreaded words in the ocean that no one likes to hear.
Yeah.
Let's go on in. No, nobody, not one person gave me any warning. So then, you know, I'm trying to think of how far out I was. I mean, it was a good little clip. I would say.
So like 10 yards?
Oh, it's further than
20 yards? Or
I'm going to say at least 40 to 50
40?
yards. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, you were, for sure.
So then I yell back at them that they're all chickens. I was like, you know, you bunch of chickens, it's just a sea turtle. You know, and I'm holding my arms up like, what are you doing?
Right.
You're missing this amazing moment to swim with a sea turtle.
Yeah.
Because you're scared. You know, you didn't let it like play out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, oh, you never hear on the news at 5 o'clock, woman gets dragged under by a sea turtle, you know, because that's what I'm yelling at them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm mad at them.
Sure. You left me, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you're familiar with boogie boarding, you know, you kind of put your upper half on the board. Mm-hmm. And so your back end and your legs, they're kind of free floating and kicking. Yeah. And then I get scared because it's a big sea turtle. And, you know, I'm only 5 feet tall.
Whoa.
Even though that has been called into question, I have requested a remeasure. It will not be done by my husband, and maybe we'll share that story in a future podcast. But anyway, I have to confess, I got a little scared that maybe it would take clamp onto my foot.
Right.
Thinking it's a fish.
Yeah.
And take me out. So then
definitely.
So then I kind of do that panic, get to the shore. But I can't tell them I'm scared. I'm like, I'm going to ride the next wave in because I'm really scared. But on the outside, I'm going to look really cool. You know?
So what made them leave? What made them leave you that it was, I mean, because this really was a very large sea turtle,
yeah,
right?
It was big.
At first, I thought you were going to say this was like some, you know, shark or some crazy.
No, I mean,
like
this is like you see, like Steve Irwin.
Like 100-year-old
yeah.
sea turtle, right?
This is like a 200-year-old sea turtle.
Wow.
Huge. And, you know, you just don't expect it in the location that we were at. I mean, seriously, it was huge.
Why did they take off?
Well, you know, that was my first question once I swam back.
Yeah.
I demanded an answer.
Yeah.
Because instead of surrounding me and protecting me, they gone. So Brian says, you never want to hear what was that. They were like, once we heard that, we were gone. And they could see, I think eventually they could see something was moving in the water, and it was of substantial size, and they went on in. But I'm like, why wouldn't you at least say, hey, give me the decision to make. We're going in. You want to stay or you can go?
Yeah. Or say, come on, I'm leaving. Come on.
Get out of the water. You know. So I still hold a little bit of a grudge.
I got you.
I mean, it wasn't just like one person, like the whole,
the whole fam,
the whole four of them. All four of them were sitting in front of the beach house, like looking like, you know. I think it was a while before I told them I actually came in because I got a little scared. Because again, you know, it's a big, large turtle. But, you know, for the rest of the time of the beach house, I got to swim with the sea turtle.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to name it Chip.
Too bad you didn't have a GoPro.
Oh man, that'd been cool.
Right,
it would have been cool with the events too, like my whole. Because I'm thinking this out. I'm also verbalizing it, and I think maybe too. You know, they're hearing like, oh, it's a dead camel. Then they're hearing it's a dead horse. And remember, the beginning of the story, I didn't have on glasses or contacts, so you know, there you go.
So I'm just curious, right? Because you didn't have on glasses or contacts.
Mm-hmm.
Did any of the rest of them see this? Like, did they actually see it?
I don't
So-
know. I need to ask them.
I
If
was
they
just
actually
curious.
saw, like, because eventually, because I had seen the head
Yeah.
is what I was seeing, and it was probably thinking, what are these things in the water? Checking it out, and then you see all of a sudden it kind of like went back under, and that's when I saw the this flipper kind of come up.
Right.
So I don't know if they saw the flipper. It seems like they might have,
Or the shell.
but they
the
couldn't.
Shell, maybe.
But they were so far away. I mean, the thing was really close to me.
Yeah.
And again, I mean, it's as big as my dining room table.
Jeez.
It was one of the coolest experiences. I wish I hadn't
Wow.
gotten scared and stayed out there.
Wow. That's
And I wish I
really
had
cool.
had contacts.
I'm
a little bit
I'm
better.
a little bit too much of a chicken because I think, well, if that thing is really big and it's right there, well, what else is out there, entertaining, you know?
I mean, tiger sharks do eat
I'm
turtles.
like, I have to admit, I mean, I used to when I was little, we would all go out further and that kind of thing. But now, I walk out into the ocean, in the water, but usually just up to my knees.
Wow, you
And then I'm like,
daredevil.
I know, for real. I'm like, I'm not gonna go out that far. Yeah, I've seen too many like recently of some of those larger mammals and all out there. I'm just like, woo, that scares me.
Fortunate to see some really cool sea life.
Yeah.
And then recently, we mentioned it over dinner the other night, we saw a large shark.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say it was a bull shark, and it was probably 8 to 10 feet long.
Yeah. Wow.
And that did scare me.
Yeah.
And it was really shallow in that area, so we had went a pretty fair distance.
Mm-hmm.
And so I told Brian, because we always go opposite of everything. But that day when I saw it, and I was like, that's a big shark. And he's like, yep, that's a big fella. And I said, how big do you think it is? And he's like, at least 8 feet. I was like, yep. I said, let's just make sure to stay together,
Right.
appear as big as we can,
Yeah.
and slowly, calmly, because I wanted to be an oceanographer
Right.
when I was a kid, so I had studied a lot about sharks, and I was like, stay together, and even though it can be fast as lightning, let's just try to ease on. Let's ease on back, and then when eventually I turned, like, we're looking at it the whole time, trying to make sure that we keep an eye on it, and then eventually we did turn around and start walking, facing the beach, and everybody on the shoreline's looking, and I was like, that's something you never want to see.
Right.
So everybody pointing at you like, shark.
Standing there. Yeah. Gazing.
And I guess because we knew, we
Yeah.
saw it, I guess they realized nobody yelled shark. We were just like, all right, let's ease on back to the beach chairs.
Right. So guys, we've talked today about in a situation where, hey, you're out experiencing something, right? And all of a sudden you're alone. All of a sudden, where did everybody go? I mean, I was here with, these people and everybody's gone. I'm here by myself. What's going on? How often do we feel like that? We get in situations where we feel like we're by ourselves, or we're kind of left to our own devices, There's going to be situations like that. But think about it. In many, many cases, those times are the times where we experience amazing things. We experience transformation, or we experience something new that happens that's only just for us. I mean, I know there's been times where I've been out somewhere and I was there with maybe 4, 6 friends, and all of a sudden everybody's over here doing something, and I look up and there's a falling star. And I'm like, hey, did y'all see that? Oh, no. What was it? And I say, you know what it was? Oh, no, we totally missed it. And all of a sudden I get this sensation over me that was just for me.
Oh, I love that.
That was just somebody talking to me. That was for me. For whatever reason, that was my inspiration. That was something that was made for me for that day. And that happens with seeing a cardinal or seeing a special bird, or an experience like seeing a huge sea turtle out in the ocean. I mean, how many people have that story to tell? So anyway, take the day and make the story yours, and enjoy the time that you have with people, but also enjoy the time that you have alone, and that you can be inspired, and that you see a comet or a star, that very thing that's just for you. Remember, you are stronger than you think. Don't give up. If you feel overwhelmed and you can't do it on your own, reach out to a caring friend, pastor, or counselor. And if you feel like you've reached rock bottom, the National Suicide and Crisis Lifeline has caring people available 24/7, and they can be reached by dialing or texting 988.
Remember to stay healthy, stay connected, and know that you matter. Till next time, friends.